of India, Shri Rajnathsingh ji, Chiefs of Navies and Heads of Delegation, our former Chiefs of Naval Staff present here, Dr. Samir Kamath, Chairman DRDO, Flag Officers, Commanding-in-Chiefs of our Naval Commands and Commander-in-Chief of Andaman Nicobar Command, senior functionaries from the Government of India and the Judiciary, Flag Officers, both serving and veterans, Commanding Officers, Officers in Charges, distinguished guests, members from the Academia, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaskar. At the outset, I extend a very warm welcome to our guests and partners from across the world to Exercise MILAN 2026, India and the Indian Navy's flagship multilateral maritime engagement. It is a matter of singular privilege for me to welcome our chief guest today, Shri Rajnathsingh ji, Honorable Defence Minister of India, to the inaugural session of the International Maritime Seminar conducted as part of MILAN 2026. Sir, I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to you for taking time out of your busy schedule to grace this occasion. Your presence here today highlights the importance attached by the Government of India to matters maritime and its commitment to collaborative maritime security in the region and beyond. Sir, today, 19th February, assumes an added significance as we celebrate the 396th birth anniversary of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who truly understood the significance of maritime domain and naval power. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj would have been very proud today to see the congregation of our friends from across the seven seas, naval practitioners, subject matter experts, and policy makers to deliberate issues that strengthen and promote maritime security. In fact, in India, we have a long tradition of periodic congregation that bring people together to renew bonds and reaffirm shared commitment and purpose. In that spirit, MILAN is like a maritime Mahakumbh, a coming together of maritime professionals from across the world, united by a common commitment and purpose to keep the seas safe, secure, and open. Ladies and gentlemen, a maritime nation like India clearly recognizes that today's maritime challenges are complex, interconnected, and transnational, that are best addressed through cooperation and partnership. Our approach to this complex maritime environment is rooted in our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Mahasagar, which he enunciated standing deep in the Indian Ocean region from Mauritius last year. Mahasagar, by now, as you all know, stands for mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. It is an inclusive and collaborative approach based on partnership and shared responsibility. As the principal manifestation of India's maritime power, the Indian Navy is guided by this inclusive vision. We engage each of our maritime partners and friends as equals, recognizing that every Navy brings its own strengths, whether through experience, geography, or capability. This spirit was aptly articulated by our chief guest, Honorable Raksha Mantri ji, during the flag off of Indian Ocean Ship Sagar last year on 5th of April, where he had said, and I quote, "In the present era, strength lies in collaboration and cooperation. Trust in the maritime domain can only be built through dialogue, consultation, and collective action." Unquote. By working together and pooling these strengths, we seek to enhance our collective competence and strengthen our shared resilience against the ever-evolving maritime challenges. Towards this, Indian Navy's efforts are progressed through a unique three-tiered approach. At the global level, the Indian Navy works with partners to promote holistic maritime security, spanning governance, law enforcement, humanitarian assistance, and environmental stewardship into a single continuum of purpose upon the global commons. At the regional level, we remain mindful that maritime challenges and operational necessities vary across sub-regions. One size may not fit all, and thus staying ahead of the curve needs our cooperative measures to be calibrated to local realities and requirements. Two recent examples reflect this approach. The month-long deployment of an Indian naval ship as Indian Ocean Ship Sagar to southwest IOR with a mixed crew of about 44 personnel from 10 IOR countries last year demonstrated our willingness to share platforms, responsibilities, and experience. Building on this, IOS Sagar 2.0 will be deployed in April of this year with even wider participation. Similarly, the Maiden Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement, or AKIM, which was held in April last year with some East African partners and hosted by our friends from Tanzania at Dar es Salaam, highlighted a shared commitment to practical, outcome-oriented cooperation, showing that distance is no barrier when intent is strong. Closer home, India's neighborhood first policy continues to guide our actions, from coordinated patrols to humanitarian assistance during crisis and calamities, reinforcing our role as a reliable first responder in the region. Exercise MILAN represents a natural extension and amalgamation of such sustained outcome-oriented engagements. Since its inception in 1995, MILAN's continuity over 2 decades is in itself a source of enduring confidence, enabling an atmosphere of familiarity and mutual trust between partners. In its 13th edition, MILAN 2026 has brought together personnel and platform from more than 70 countries, 74 to be precise, making it the largest gathering in the history of this exercise. This strong global participation not only reflects the growing confidence and trust placed by each one of you on this forum, but also sends a message beyond this exercise area. It signals our collective commitment to look beyond local concerns and join hands as partners to safeguard the global commons. MILAN 2026 provides a valuable opportunity to translate these principles into practice. Over the coming days, our navies will engage in complex maritime maneuvers, drills and exercises, professional exchanges and insightful discussions. Whilst enhancing mutual understanding, trust and interoperability, these interactions will also help in learning from each other's experience and expertise. Beyond professional engagements, MILAN also features a host of social and sporting interactions that would help build lasting bonds between participating nations. I am sure that our foreign guests will carry back home fond memories and experience of MILAN 2026. that are professionally enriching, operationally stimulating, and personally unforgettable. I compliment the Eastern Naval Command for their focused efforts in organizing this landmark event. I would like to express my special gratitude to the Government of Andhra Pradesh and Visakhapatnam City Administration for their invaluable, unstinted support. Before I conclude, may I once again express my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Defence Minister, Shri Rajnathsingh ji, for his presence here. With that, I wish Milan 2026 every success. May this edition of Milan mark a momentous milestone in our collective journey towards a safe, secure, and open seas. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request the Honorable Raksha Mantri to address the gathering.
Good afternoon. Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, Chief of Naval Staff, Dr. Sameer V. Kamath, Secretary, DDR&D and Chairman, DIDO, Vice Admiral Sri Sanjay Bhalla, FOCNC Eastern Naval Command, distinguished heads of navies, heads of military and international delegations, officers and the sailors of Indian Navy, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege for me to present in the opening ceremony of exercise Milan 2026 here at Visakhapatnam, the city of destiny and indeed the jewel of India's east coast. I extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished guests, especially our friends and partners from 74 countries, which is the largest ever participation in Milan. Friends, I convey India's sincere appreciation for your enthusiastic participation in this significant maritime event. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday at the International Fleet Review by the Honorable President of India, we witnessed a clear affirmation of goodwill, professionalism and a mutual respect among the world's navies. It was a powerful reminder that while our flags differ, we all speak the same maritime language, a shared commitment to keep the global commons safe, secure and stable. Ladies and gentlemen, exercise Milan gives practical expression to that shared language. Today we carry forward that cohesive spirit and maritime momentum from ceremony to substance as we transition decisively into the operational aspect of maritime engagement through Milan. Inspired by the Hindi word Milan, meaning a meeting of friends, this exercise represents in its truest sense a meeting of equals and a confluence of like-minded nations and maritime professionals united by a common purpose. From its mindset, beginning in 1995 at Sri Vijayapuram, when a small group of friendly navies first came together, Milan has grown steadily in scope and stature. Over the years, due to concerted efforts of all partners, Milan has evolved from a regional interaction into one of the world's most prominent multinational level exercise. It has evolved into one of India's most credible and consistent maritime engagements. This year, with the participation of more than 74 nations, Milan 2026 stands as the largest and most inclusive edition to date, a reflection of the confidence the global maritime community places in India as a trusted and responsible maritime partner. Ladies and gentlemen, MILAN 2026 seeks to enhance interoperability among navies of partner countries, improve professional competence by sharing of the professional experiences and practices, and deepen friendship among participating navies by evolving bonds of mutual advantage. Through joint exercises at sea, professional interactions during such meetings, and cultural exchanges, we reaffirm our commitment for establishing a lasting bond of friendship. We aspire to establish an equitable maritime order based on international rules and freedom of navigation in accordance with the international law. Ladies and gentlemen, as I address the magnificent gathering of the commanders and the senior naval leaders from across the globe, I would like to start by highlighting a few important issues facing contemporary geostrategic world. It is fashionable these days to say that as far as international peace and order is concerned, the contemporary technology-oriented defense preparedness is moving away from the naval domain. Ladies and gentlemen, the increase of naval power has historically been equated with the era of the mercantilism and colonialism. Growth of capitalism was supported by gunboat diplomacy of seafaring nations. And when we analyze the age of colonialism, the naval power was the foremost symbol of the strength across the world. Nations with formidable and well-equipped navies not only dominated sea trade routes but also extended their influence over distant lands. During that era, Alfred Thierry's sea power theory gained prominence, wherein he declared, "Who rules the sea rules the world." The equation was no doubt correct in context of 18th and 19th century power play. The second half of 20th century witnessed an explosion of technology in defense where lethality and efficiency in warfare enhanced manifold. This technological revolution led to an enormous assumption in certain quarters. That significance and role of naval power has somewhat reduced strategically. Friends, it is my firm belief that when almost 75% of the surface of our earth is covered with seas and oceans, the role of navies can never be downplayed. If at all, the role of navies in international peacemaking has only increased over time, and there are good reasons for that. One, there has been an exponential economic growth during the last few decades, leading to massive increase in international trade and transport. The busy economic sea channels are arteries of the international trade today. As the trade and the transport increase, the need of their protection enhances your role. Secondly, there has been an increase in contest for ownership of straits and the channels, sometimes causing threats of flare-up. This calls for increased naval watch. And third, increasing international attention to underwater resources, particularly rare earth minerals, are today adding a new dimension to this tension. The threat to the common good is much more today than ever in history. Ladies and gentlemen, next is the spread of terrorism across the world. There is a need to guard our waters from the nefarious terrorist activities which are spreading their influence across countries and the regions. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from the above, the challenges we face at sea today are much more complex and interconnected. Traditional threats coexist with emerging ones, and piracy, maritime terrorism, illegal fishing, trafficking, cyber vulnerabilities, and disruption to critical supply chains. Climate change is intensifying natural disasters, making humanitarian and disaster relief operations more frequent and more demanding. No single navy, however capable, can address these challenges alone. This is why cooperation among the navies is no longer an option, it is an imperative. It is in the context of these issues that the responsibilities of the navies have only increased in recent decades. Ladies and gentlemen, all these distinctive responsibilities call upon the international community to join hands to manage the challenges harmoniously and act in the spirit of mutual respect and give and take. It is here that I would like to give you an idea to ponder over. The United Nations Convention on the Law of Seas, or UNCLOS, provides a robust legal framework for addressing matters related to international waters. UNCLOS provides a comprehensive and a time-tested mechanism for dispute redressal and a peaceful coexistence among the nations. It is my belief that this legal framework can be further strengthened through a comprehensive global naval architecture, one that facilitates information sharing, protects links of the communications, and curbs criminal activities, including terrorism on high seas, along with the usual role of protecting the national boundaries on a global scale. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say this, I am also cognizant of the recent erosion of belief in multilateralism. Today we find that the established international order since the end of Cold War is witnessing an upheaval. The stability of last 60 to 70 years in international order has become uncertain. And we are today in search of the more predictable and certain international system of governance. Platforms like MILAN serve precisely this purpose. They bring together professional expertise, build mutual trust, enhance interoperability, and enable coordinated responses to common challenges. When our ships sail together, when our sailors train together, and when our commanders deliberate together, we build a shared understanding that transcends geography and politics and provides an opportune moment to deliberate on this idea of cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, India has long recognized the need of this cooperation. Accordingly, our approach to the seas, shaped by vision of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region over the last decade, has evolved into Vision Mahasagar, or mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. This evolution from Sagar, meaning seas, to Mahasagar, or oceans, reflects India's deepening and expanding commitment to engage with partners in the region and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, India, on its part, has been a willing partner in all efforts to bring the countries together. We have participated regularly in the multilateral engagements and the coordinated patrols. Our forces have responded swiftly to humanitarian crises, from tsunami to providing timely assistance to our neighbors. We have been engaged in many joint exclusive economic zones, surveillance, and hydrographic assistance and support missions in times of cyclones. As a true Vishwamitra, or a trusted global friend, we will continue to play a constructive and dependable role in the region. And we believe that holistic maritime security and a mutual prosperity are indivisible and can only be achieved through cooperation, trust, and a shared commitment among like-minded nations. Ladies and gentlemen, I would urge all our friends and partners to make the most of the professional and the social engagements scheduled ashore and at sea to build and renew interpersonal and institutional bonds while leaving behind a lasting wake of fond memory. To the officers and sailors of the Indian Navy, particularly those of the Eastern Naval Command, and to the Andhra Pradesh State and Visakhapatnam City Administration supporting this event, I commend your unwavering dedication and efforts. To conclude, I wish MILAN 2026 every success. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request the Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh K.